So yeah, just really, really excited about this opportunity this week. Really good opponent, well-coached team, the head coach and coordinator Kubiak, who I worked with in Denver, and so they got a good group. They've got a lot of veteran players that have done a lot of good things in this league. Obviously, Derek Carr being one of them, and so excited about the opportunity. Excited about our team as well, and got to give a little bit of love to Derek Brown and Shaquille. Both voted captains on the defensive side, and both well-deserved. And they're, along with all of our players, but those two especially are just the epitome of what you want as leaders and teammates, and obviously what they do on the field in terms of the production. And excited about those two leading our defense, and excited about our entire crew, and looking forward to getting to Sunday playing this game.
Shaq in particular, I mean, because he's been here for forever. How do you see all that, the coaching changes and the scheme changes, impact him, or has it at all?
I don't think it does. He's got so much experience at this point now, and he's played. I know a lot of his time was in the same system, but he's got so much NFL experience, and he just knows how to play that linebacker position. There's been times in his career he started off as a big nickel where he was kind of playing more flanked out, and then he's played outside backer position at times. He's obviously now he's playing off the ball more, and so he's got so many different experiences in different positions. He's played a lot of football. And, we were actually talking about this on the practice field the other day. I'm excited to watch him play because as great as he's been on the field, and you see the communication and see the way he moves around and all those different types of things, we haven't really seen him really play a lot of game football since we've been here. So we're excited about it, and I think he's going to do really well.
Do you have anyone you can kind of chess piece around like you did with Frankie?
Well, I think we want to save some of those things for the Saints, obviously. But, we got to do some things schematically, and we know how we want to play on defense. We want to be physical. We want to play with great effort. We want to attack the ball. And at the end of the day, it's about getting your best players in positions to be one-on-one and win those one-on-ones, and that's what we're always trying to do.
Last year, because of Shaq's injury and because you were using Frankie in different ways, it kind of felt like you were adapting your personnel and your scheme together. This year you have a bunch of guys that you're familiar with. I'm just curious, what's your outlook for run defense now that you have those guys that you are familiar with who fit the system more naturally this year?
Well, we want to play the run game very well, and looking at Ashawn, looking at Shy Tuttle, obviously Derek, what he can do, Jadeveon on the edge, all the different outside linebackers, Josie, Shaq, the safeties, the corners, everybody's involved, and we always talk about that it takes all 11 to play the run game, and at some point the offense is going to get that thing out to the corner and they have to tackle. And so we like our pieces that we have. We like the way that we could play up front. We like the way we could play in the second level, and we got to make that come to life. And I think it's really, really important. Like, this is something that Coach Dom taught me, and it's really, so much emphasis is put on third down. Like, hey, you got to win on third down, but like, to me, the key in this league is winning on first down, and so much of that is your run defense, and so it's important.
Last year, when you guys were in New Orleans, there was one throw by Carr that went over, I think, 15 yards. What did you take from that performance by your defense and also by the Saints and their strategy, and how can you kind of use that to your advantage, I guess? I know it's a new offense.
Yeah, you factor how they want to play with Derek, and Derek obviously is a very good quarterback, a lot of experience. I think he is an elite quarterback from the standpoint of it's hard to disguise against him because he's so good at seeing what's happening post-snap and getting the ball to where it needs to get to. He's going to try to protect the ball and not put it at risk. But that being said, trying to merge what they're going to do this year versus what they did last year, the same system, it's going to be interesting. And I think that's kind of the fun of game one sometimes. You don't quite know exactly what you're going to get. We're making some educated guesses, but till we play them, we're not going to quite know, and we're going to have to be ready to adjust on the fly in game. But it'll be fun. It's fun to see what happens.
I'm sorry, you had sacked him 4 times in the first game. I think he was sacked 4 times each of their first 2 games, and that was the season high. did they do something scheme-wise where they were getting the ball out quicker, kind of as the season went on?
Yeah, they certainly did. And the second time we played them, that was kind of, to your point, what they were trying to do. Yeah, I mean, regardless of what type of game it is, we understand that. And if that's the type of game it is, we have to be ready to adjust and go play fast.
How do you feel about your pass rush? Davian obviously with confidence there, but outside of that, where's it going to come from?
Well, it's going to come from the guys on the field. We feel good about JD, and Derek is very underrated as a rusher. I think if you really go back and watch the tape and those pass downs, he's affecting the quarterback, and it's a challenge for all of us. And I know he's taking it very likely that he wants to transition those into more sacks. And so those guys have got to be our bell cows. But everybody that gets on the field, we're expecting something from them. And Coach Wash and Coach Luckaboo, they do a heck of a job with our rush plan. And, this league is about winning one-on-ones, but there's a lot of coordination in terms of how do we attack protections, 4 guys working as one. And so we're going to have to do a heck of a job from that standpoint. And, we'll save our starting lineup in terms of the rushers for Sunday. But we have a lot of confidence in those guys. And then, those guys are just going to have to do a great job working together.
What have you been able to learn about Sheriff in a short amount of time?
Well, the preseason tape, there was a lot of production. He was getting to the quarterback. Does he have the ideal measurables for the position? Probably not, but the production is there. And what we've seen in practice so far has demonstrated that it's real.
That inside linebacker spot is pretty set, at least it seems to us, with Shaq and Josie. But Trevon Wallace has had a really good off-season program, training camp, etc. How do you balance trying to find a way to make sure that those guys, Josie and Shaq, get their time, but also work in Trevon to get some reps?
Yeah, no, it's you always want to try to get your best players on the field, and Trevon has done such a great job, but it's really not a surprise. Just getting to know him through the draft process, watching his film, spending time with him when he did his visit here pre-draft. He's got everything it takes. He's got the physical measurables. He's big, he's fast, he's long, he's strong. When we brought him in pre-draft, we realized that he's very intelligent as well, and that's such a premium at that position because, like we've talked about in the past, there's so much going on in the NFL in terms of offensive football. And the biggest stress, especially in our scheme, is on that position to be able to do so many different things and have to do it in a really short amount of time. And so he's done a great job, and he has grown so much that, hey, we feel very confident if he has to go in the game and play for Josie or Shaq. And but at the same time, we got to balance out, all right, who are your best 11 players on the field, and how do we fit this thing together where you're getting your best guys on the field as often as possible.
Dan told us after you guys claimed those corners and signed Mike that he sat down with you and the staff about measurables and kind of profile for different positions. You just mentioned Jamie not necessarily fitting that. What is your outside linebacker profile?
Well, yeah, I mean, the profile always starts with making plays. That's number one in the profile. And so production's one. But, this is a big man's game. You want guys that are tall, long, have the movement skills to drop in coverage when we ask that job responsibility. And so guys are, the top guys, the guys that have all that stuff, they go in the first round. And the guys that don't have that stuff sometimes go in the 6th, 7th, or are undrafted. And at the end of the day, though, the guys that produce are the ones that are going to be playing and are going to last in the league.
6'4", kind of the ideal length?
Probably more of a function of arm length and height. Yeah.
Shaw converted to nickel. Just curious what you saw from him in that conversion and his ability to play outside.
Ask me that question one more time.
Shaw Smith-Wade didn't play a lot of nickel at Washington State.
Yep.
Is playing more now. What did you see from him in his transition to that position, but also what you saw from him on the outside as well?
Yeah, so what we saw on the outside from college, he can run, he's competitive, he's tough, he's physical, he's got the quickness and quick twitch. And so all of those traits really translate to playing nickel, especially in the league. And so, a lot of times too, the job at playing corner is very difficult from the standpoint of all right, I'm out there on the island, and this could be Justin Jefferson, it could be Jamar Chase, one of these guys, and that's not an easy job, obviously. But like the down in and down out of what you ask your nickels to do, playing in the run game, matching receivers, blitz, and all the schematic things. It's a challenging position, and so it's always there's always going to be a level of training and growth, and there's really nobody that could probably step in day one in our scheme and play from college into the pros at the nickel position. And so you look for the traits, and then you try to develop them and groom them into the system, and he's done a really good job at that.
With that said, having Troy, who has done that role for years, and specifically in your secondary, how much does that help you as a coach, you and Cooley, when you're trying to communicate and then also have a peer example?
Yeah, we were just talking about leadership with Shaq and Derek, and I mean Troy's a classic example. Just knowledge, experience, and in a lot of ways he can communicate and articulate things to Shaw that me and Cooley can't, you know. And so having another coach in the field, having another leader like Troy is certainly big.
Speaking of Derek, he said last year that despite his record-breaking year, there's still more that he can do in this 3-4 system. What, from your perspective, what else can he do? Like, where can he reach that next level?
Yeah, I think it's the sack production. Yeah, in my opinion, arguably the best run player in the NFL. And like I said earlier, the sacks, the pressures were there. He affects the quarterback. He's a hard man to block, run or pass, one-on-one. And so, but at the end of the day, you know, we want to translate those into more sack production and go from, like, I can't remember exactly what he had last year, but like I think this guy could get 8 to 10 sacks this year.
Trevon played well during the preseason. Are you looking for ways to get him out there? Because, I mean, obviously your starter's not going to want to come off very often. Mm-hmm. And you want Shaq to be monitored a little bit on his snap count.
Yeah, it's you know, sometimes it's hard to kind of load manage guys. You know, I think especially at certain position, D-line, we're always going to have a rotation, but when you start thinking about like the secondary and the linebackers, those guys are really just got to go play the entire game, and so that's what makes it challenging because, like we've talked about, you see all the good stuff that Trevon has been doing, and you want to find a role for him, and you want to find some space for him to play, and that's where we just got to do a good job as a staff and just really evaluating our roster, looking at our people, and finding the best roles for them that can help us on game day.
You mentioned Derek's run-stopping prowess. Now you have Ejiro, who is also pretty good at stopping the run. Plus, you have one of the best edge setters in the league in Jadeveon. Is it beneficial to you to have guys that when teams are trying to run away from Derek, that they have to run into that?
Oh, yeah, no question. Yeah, no question. I mean, the way we want to play, you know, we're not a two-gap team, but, like, you can certainly steal a gap, like when you have guys like Derek and Ejiro. And so having two guys like that on the ends positions and even to Shai Tuttle's credit, he's done a great job, had a great camp, played really well for us last year. And so we got 3 guys in there that are big and stout and can play the run game the way we want. And then even Nick Thurman coming off the bench and LeBron Ray coming off the bench, those guys, type of guys, we feel really good about that group.
We're good.
All right, thank you all.